Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I am sharing with you my diary entry for the week of January 8th through 14th. Today is Saturday, January 14th. It is a nice, overcast, and rainy day. So if you hear some ASMR in the background, it is raining quite a bit at the moment. It has been all day long. I am very, very happy. The rain does put me in my happy place. Today I have some reading to share with you. I finished quite a few things this week. I've got a little bit of knitting, some movie chat, and then we'll do a little bit of how my year has been going update towards the end. So let's get into the reading. I finished 3 things this week. So the first thing that I finished was Darkfever. This is the first book in the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning. I read this in conjunction with my friend Jenaya over at Live a Thousand Lives' read-along that she's doing this year of this series. This was a reread for me. I first read this book in 2010. This book follows a young woman named Michaela. She's about 22 years old. She's just living it up at home as her parents are away on their anniversary trip. They are island hopping for like 30 days or something like that. And her older sister is on a study abroad program in Ireland. And she's just living her best life until she gets a phone call from the Ireland Police Department saying that her sister has been murdered. So this just throws her family's life up in the air. 3 weeks go by and the police still have no leads, and they decide to close it out as a cold case. And this just doesn't sit well with Michaela. She packs up and decides to head out to Ireland to try to figure out who murdered her sister. While she's there, she discovers her sister had been keeping secrets from her. And through her investigation, she starts to figure out that things that she didn't even know existed do actually exist. And also starts to find out things about herself that she didn't even know. So I, like I said, had read this back in 2010. When I had read it, I remember really enjoying it. I can even tell you the day that I picked it up was a day when I was at work and the power had gone out, and this just so happened to have been downloaded to my phone already. And so to pass the time while we were waiting for the power to come back on, I decided to read this book. Like I said, I remember really enjoying it. I believe my mom also read it after that because I was telling her how much I really enjoyed it. And she read a few more books into this series, but I, for whatever reason, never picked up the second one, but always meant to. And this time around, I enjoyed it as well, though I will have to say that I didn't enjoy it as much as I remembered enjoying it the first time I read it. So this time around, I decided to pick it up on audiobook. I thought just having a bit of a different experience would help, because, sometimes rereads don't always work out the best. And so I thought having the audiobook will give me a little bit of a different feel, and it definitely did. If you watched my Disis19 Diaries from last week, you know that when I first started listening to the audiobook, it really did not work out well for me. The female character's voice kind of reminded me a lot of Sookie Stackhouse, the TV version of Sookie Stackhouse, and Jericho, our main male character, sounded like he was 50 or 60 years old, and that didn't work out too well for me either. But I decided to try to speed up the audiobook this week. So I normally listen to things at a 2 times speed. That's just kind of my default speed. But when I started this one, I decided to go down to 1.75. And that did not work out for me. So I decided to go up to a 2 times speed, and that still, the voices still bothered me. And so I went up to a 2.15 speed, and that worked out much better. As far as this reread goes, I still really enjoyed it. It was probably more like a 3.5 star read for me, as opposed to the full 4 stars that I gave it the last time. Michaela, just in some of the things that she was saying, I didn't really enjoy. She was also very obstinate, and I didn't enjoy that as well. the way her and Jericho butt heads at the beginning, it's just like neither of them want to give up any information. They want the other one to give it up first. I hate that. And it's just, yeah, it was still enjoyable once we got past like that whole beginning part about, you know, hitting walls and the investigation and the police not helping out. And then just a lot of people in Ireland treating Michaela, very poorly when she's there. I get why that happens, but like I said, Michaela starts to find out things about herself that she didn't know. She doesn't realize any of that when she's being treated poorly by people. And so it was kind of hard starting out. But now that we're like fully in motion with the trying to figure out who killed her sister and other things. I don't want to give things away, but I feel like the story has momentum now, and I really enjoyed it towards the end of the book. So like I said, my rating has gone down a bit from the full 4 stars to 3.5, but I still enjoyed what I read, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we go in the second installment. So I will be continuing, I think, with the audiobook from now, just to see if it gets to be unenjoyable for me listening, then I'll probably go back to reading physically. But from here on out, it will be all new material for me. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where our characters go and what Michaela figures out as we go. So yeah, enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to continuing. So the next thing I finished was Heaven Official's Blessing Volume 1 by MXTX. This is a light novel published by 7 Seas, rated 17+, which is technically older teen. I will say, after reading this first volume, that this volume is not 17+. This volume is probably teen. But this does follow our main character, Shie Leon. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Let me go look it up really fast. I had said earlier that there was no pronunciation guide in this when I was reading it back in November. The pronunciation guide is after the character guide, which I think was a mistake on the part of the publisher. They should not have done it that way. They should have put the pronunciation guide first and then the character guide after, because it specifically states at the top here that the identity of certain characters may be a spoiler. Use this guide with caution on your first read of the novel. So with that in mind, the pronunciation guide should have been first. But our main character, Shie Leon, he is a prince. He has ascended to godhood 3 times, and now he is on his 3rd time falling down from godhood. There's not too much given on like why that is. All it says is that he's angered the gods in some way, shape, or form. There's no real like time spent on telling you all of that, because I guess it's really not important in the main like scheme of the story. But he is on his 3rd time falling back down to earth, and he kind of just goes on these like adventures. That pretty much is what we're doing with our character here. So we follow Shie Leon. He gets assigned these 2 other assistants who are under different gods. And so he just goes about roaming around, and he gets into one mystery, and then they kind of figure out what's going on with that. And then on his travels, he picks up an adolescent or a teen and starts traveling with them in tow. And then they get into another like mystery. And so this is kind of just like an adventure story where we're following Shie Leon in his adventures roaming the earth as he's fallen down from the heavens on his third time. That's not what I thought this book was about, or this series was about. It definitely tells you that he's ascended and fallen from godhood 3 times in the summary on the back. It says a god fallen, a ghost risen as its tagline. I knew going into this beforehand that there was going to be a male-male love story in this, but none of that is in this first volume. Like, this was not anything that I thought it was going to be. It took me a while to get into it. When we finally got into the first mystery, I was intrigued. That first mystery was probably the most interesting part of the story for me. But then when they figure out what's going on, there's like no, like, okay, let's close out this mystery. Let's fix it. There's none of that. It's like, okay, we figured out what's happening, and then all of a sudden we're traveling again. Like, they're not going to do anything about it. And I'm just like, wait, what? And me, as a mystery reader, I kind of look for that closure. I like to see how these things are concluded. And they just were like, okay, this is what's happening. And that's it. They're not going to, like, fix it. And so I was a bit disappointed with that. We pick up this adolescent, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on with this. It gets very confusing with me, because I'm like, okay, like, where's our romantic lead? Like, it can't be this adolescent, like, right? That would be bad. That would be a huge age gap. Not to mention our main character is already 800 years old, right? And then they get into this other, like, situation, which is not really a mystery, but it kind of is. This whole thing is just kind of ambiguous to me, and it never really drew me in, and I don't know where to go from here with this. I was chatting with one of my friends on Goodreads about this who has read more of the series, and they told me that they kind of feel the same way, where it never really drew them in. And so I'm very disappointed with this. I was expecting some nice paranormal mysteries and intrigue, and I thought that's where we were going to go, but that's not what happened. There's definitely some goriness about some of the storylines that we see in here. Lots of talk of, like, bloodshed and war. There's a disease that kind of makes pustules on your face look grotesque, which is illustrated, like, you actually see it illustrated in the pages of this book, because there are illustrations in here. There are about 6 or 7. I'm not going to show you that one, but I do quite enjoy the illustrations that we see. So our first illustration we get, I think this is the first one, it's pretty early in the book. It's like this. And so most of the illustrations are like this. They're just kind of, our main character, Xie Lian, that's him sitting in a cafe, drinking a cup of tea, just looking out the window. But yeah, they're very nice illustrations. I quite enjoyed them. But the story just didn't draw me in, and I'm very upset. I ended up only giving this one 3 stars. I do have 2 more of these. Like I said, I was talking to a friend on Goodreads, and they had said of MXTX's series that have been released in these light novel formats, they enjoy the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation better, or the best. I do have that one. I did not pick up the Scum Villains one. That one for me didn't sound like it was like my type of thing, like my genre. So I was interested in this one and the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation one. So I do have that one. But I don't know if I want to skip over to that one and start reading that one instead, or just stick with this one until I figure out whether or not this is actually going to work for me. Yeah, I guess my whole problem with this is that I don't know what the main thing is supposed to be. Like, I thought that the whole, like, main story of this was that our main character was going to meet this person that is talked about on the back cover, who he feels an instant connection with, and we're going to follow their relationship as they, like, roam the lands and get into these, like, mysteries and things like that. Figure them out. And that does not seem to be what's happening. I will have to say that now that I've finished this installment, I do think I know who the romantic partner is going to be. But the way that that whole thing happened was just, like, very strange. Very, very strange. And I'm very curious now to see how all of that is going to work, if I am correct in who I think the partner is. So that still intrigues me, but the whole mystery aspect of this, like, storyline does not work for me. So I think going forward, I have to change my mindset about what this series is, and, like, not look for the mystery parts to be the, like, thing. Like, I need to look at this more as, like, a almost contemporary story where we're just following him in his daily life. If he gets into trying to figure out a mystery of a supernatural basis, then great. But that whole, like, story is not the main thing. I think we are just following him in his daily life now that he's fallen down from the heavens the third time, and helping out mortals who are dealing with supernatural situations as he comes along with them, and then have a romantic, like, storyline alongside that when we finally get to it, because we don't have it yet here. And like I said, this series is rated 17 plus, so there's got to be some spiciness or something, maybe extra violence. It doesn't really tell you why it's rated 17 plus on the back here. So it's either going to be really heavy violence, gore, or it's going to be some spicy scenes. So we'll just have to see. I'm not super excited to get to the next one at the moment. But yeah, it was kind of a lackluster read for me. And considering that I had started to read this in November, put it down for the entirety of December because I was doing my manga advent calendar project, and never once thought about this book, is not a good sign. So yeah, I'm very disappointed with this. 3 stars. I will continue to the next one because I do have it. But yeah, it's just okay for me. So that was the second thing I finished. And then last night I started on the monochrome manga selections because our meeting is this upcoming Thursday, the 19th. So it'll be the day after you see this video from me. So I read Dinosaur Sanctuary, story and art by Itaru Kinoshita, research consultant Shin-Ichi Fujiwara, published by 7 Seas, rated teen. So this is a story about a dinosaur sanctuary. So we follow a woman who is a new keeper at Dino Land, Enoshima Dino Land, and so she's learning the ins and outs of taking care of the dinosaurs they have on exhibit there. And that is all I'm going to tell you. I will save my thoughts because I always do a series first impressions video on the Monochrome Manga Club selection, so you will see a video of me telling my thoughts on this volume later. That would probably come out next week, but we'll see. But yeah, I finished that one last night, and that's everything that I read since I talked to you last. So let's get into some knitting. So I've got my bag here. I've only been working on the Advent sweater. So this is my Pineapple Yarns Advent Calendar from 2018. The bag does have a lot more room in it now that I have used some of the skeins. So you can see the ones that I've used are down here. And then I've got, you know, my other skeins to go. I'm on color 8, so day 8. And I have split for the sleeves. So I've got 2 sleeves now. And I think this will fit quite nicely. It looks to be about the right size. And so I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said, I split for the sleeves and I'm on day 8. So I split after day 6. And so I have this like funfetti cake color. It's kind of what it looks like when I was putting it in. And then I'm working on this purple speckly color right now. I've done 6 rows in the purple, so I've got 3 more rows to go before I change again. I did put in a marker where I was the last time I talked to you. So I was here the last time I talked to you. So I've done quite a bit since I talked to you last. Yeah. So I'm still very happy with this project. And I'm starting to now try to figure out if I made a mistake in my calculation. And I think this is going to be just a little long. So per the pattern instructions, the body should be about 15.5 inches long after you separate for the sleeves. And I think I'm going to be at like 17 or 18 with all of the colors that I have. So what I may do to try to lessen that is to do the ribbing in the last color instead of doing the ribbing in this slate gray like I've done here at the top. I had planned to do the ribbing in this on the ends of the sleeves and the bottom of the sweater, but we'll have to see how long the sweater ends up. It may actually not be that bad. I do tend to like my sweaters to be a little bit longer than normally it's written for, but I'm just enjoying the ride as I go, and now that I've split for the sleeves, it's laying a lot better. And yeah, I'm just going round and round and round. It's been a nice kind of rhythmic project to work on in the evenings, which I've needed because this week has been very, very stressful. So as I put this away, let's do a little bit of movie chat. I'll get to why it's been stressful in just a little bit. So we started watching our American TV shows again. So all the American TV shows came back. So like the FBI's, the NCIS's, Will Trent. We were really enjoying that one. We watched the 2nd episode. I think that's the only new show. No, that's not. We started Alert Missing Persons Unit. That was really good. And so I think we'll be following that show for a while. And yeah, other than that, as far as movies go, we started our rewatch of Lord of the Rings last night. So we watched The Fellowship of the Ring last night. We'll probably be doing Two Towers tonight. And yeah, we try to watch The Lord of the Rings once a year. And we're really enjoying that. So last night I did quite a bit of knitting, actually, just watching The Fellowship of the Ring. But that's pretty much what we've done as far as watching. And now let's get into a little bit of why my week has been so stressful. So last week, after I finished filming, my mom called me from the freeway and said that somebody had rear-ended her. So they rear-ended her hard enough that his car caught on fire. She was fine. My mom was driving a very large SUV. It actually was my SUV. So About 4 years ago, my mom got sideswiped on the freeway again by a big rig. And she was in a little small sedan. And again, she was okay. My daughter was in the car at the time, though. And so I said, no more small cars on the freeway. And so I had let her use my SUV since my SUV was bigger, and then I just went out and got another car. And so now she was in my car, which was supposed to be my daughter's, because my daughter needs to learn how to drive, and she's been putting it off, but she needs to get that done this year. That was supposed to be for her to drive, so now that car has been totaled by the insurance company. So she had to go out and get another car, and so it's just been stressful. The whole claims process was stressful. My mom was shaken up, and things were just stressful. So since the vehicle was totaled, I needed to find the title to my car, and I paid off my car like 7 years ago. And you know, when you say, okay, I'm going to put some like important document or something in a safe place so I don't forget where it is. Well, yeah, I put it in a place so safe that I couldn't find it. It wasn't where I have always thought that it was. Like, I've always had it in my mind that it was in this specific drawer, and it wasn't. So now I had to go get a replacement title, and that was a big mess. My mom finally got another car yesterday. So we do have another car, but now we've also got a second car payment. And right now, if you didn't know, is not the time to be buying new cars. The market is just out of control at the moment. And so we ended up getting a used car, an SUV. And so my mom is actually out driving it right now for the first time because she had to work today. And yeah, it's just been very stressful. I've had chest pains all week. And I know that it's a direct result of stress. It has been a stress reaction for me since I was in my teens. And I've been told by doctors that it's all in my head. I don't believe it is, but no doctor has taken me seriously about my chest pains or my heart palpitations or my irregular heartbeat. And so I've kind of been left to deal with it myself. But I'm thinking that maybe now I'm older, like I'm old, that maybe a doctor will take me seriously for once. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. In any case, I've been in a lot of pain this week. I've had a lot of stress. My mom and I have gotten into quite a few fights this week because of the stress and just things going on. And it's just been bad. So yeah, not starting out 2023 the best, especially not with financial stressor, losing my car that I've had for 14 years or something like that, and just things are not going the way I wanted them to go this year. So it can only get better from here, right? I think. I mean, obviously there are worse things that could happen or that could have happened considering, but it's just been a week where you kind of forget to be thankful that things didn't turn out as badly as they could have. But at the same time, it's just caused a lot of stress and heartache and stress on the finances and things like that. And financial stresses are probably one of the worst things that I have dealt with, with my mom and stuff like that. And it's just been bad. So we've still got to get all of the car things taken care of. I've applied for a replacement title, so that's going to take some time. And yeah, the insurance company was not nice about telling me that they were going to total my car. First they told me, they're going to total it. I'm like, that's not what I want to hear. And then they're like, well, we're going to have somebody look at it. And then the next guy calls me and says, okay, we're going to pay you out this much. I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, well, we're totaling your vehicle. I'm like, well, you should have led with that, because I was told that they were going to look at it and then call me back and let me know, and that just didn't happen. And it's yeah. There are a whole bunch of other things that happened that I'm just not going to get into, but it's just been a bad week. Let's just say it's been a bad week. It's been a bad start of the year. And hopefully it'll just go up from here. So, yeah. Yeah. It is raining today, so I guess I've got that to be thankful for as well. It does definitely put me in a better place mentally. I'm not having any of my chest pains or anything like that today, which is good, because after dealing with it for the entire week, it's the longest amount of time that I've dealt with that for a while. So, like I said, one of the things that I really want to do this year is get my stress level down. That obviously hasn't happened yet. So starting next week, I don't know how realistic that is really, though, considering I probably will be stressed out until this whole thing gets taken care of with the totaling of the car and getting all the paperwork to the insurance company and all of that stuff. But right now, I'm having an okay day. It's been much better than the rest of the week has been. And I'm, thankful that nothing more serious didn't happen to my mom. I'm thankful that I don't have chest pains today. And I am much better. I'm in a much better place mentally than I have been. So that's a good thing to leave off on this diary entry. So let me know down in the comments below what you've done so far this week. Have you finished any reads? Have you had some good reads this week? I hope your reads have been better than mine, because I wouldn't say I've had great reads so far, in the first 2 weeks of this year. So yeah, I'm still working on trying to get my spreadsheet from last year updated. At this point, my end of the year stats is probably not going to come out till February. It's just not been a good start to the year, but it'll get out eventually, and I think that's just got to be my motto for the year. It will get out eventually. Just got to do things at my own pace. So yeah, let me know if you read any good books this week, or if you watched anything good, or do you have a tradition of watching certain series annually? I'd love to know that. Hopefully, like I said, your year is going better than mine is so far. If nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you are here, if you could leave me a rain cloud emoji down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.